Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody had a lovely week. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, so we got a really strong close here on S&P 500 and NASDAQ going into next week. Now, I personally do think that we probably are going to get a little bit of a short-term pullback. I think we're going to start the week off up with how everything is set up, and I think it makes sense that we're going to start pulling back later on into the week. Now this dip that's going to present itself, I do think it is going to provide a decent buying opportunity. And no, I do not think we are going to come all the way back down and fill the 654 gap right here. I just don't think it is going to be happening. It can. I am not going to say that's the likely scenario moving forward. I think if anything, we're going to go a little like that. Maybe we tag 620. I think, we get something. It could even be, just a sharp guy like that. All right. That quickly gets bought up. Could even get bought up by the end of the week. But I do think it is going to lead to higher prices. Okay. I don't think it's going to be much. I really don't. But I will just point to, either over here, you get one more week and then boom, multiple weeks of pullbacks or consolidation there. Or you get something like that, and then boom, the following week you get, a little higher there to start off the week, and then you pull back, and then boom, you get, you climb back up over the coming weeks after that. On most of these green candlesticks, like, the wide body bars we have right here, I was telling you guys, okay, I didn't think it made sense just to come back down into this range after we had been stair stepping for, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, guys. 6 weeks. We were just doing this little stair step pattern. I thought at some point we were going to actually get an impulsive move. We see now we're getting the impulsive move. I do think we're going decently higher. Okay. But anything that, like, if we pull back, let's say we really get a drastic pullback, we fill the gap, it's going to create, something of a handle to the cup pattern. It's going to create a right shoulder to your inverse head and shoulders pattern. All right. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to form bullish structure. Okay. We had that tight 2-week range going on here inside weeks, and then boom, you blew right past them. You blew to all-time highs. NASDAQ hit all-time highs. We said it's only a matter of time until S&P 500 hit all-time highs. We said S&P 500 hits. That was Thursday's thumbnail. It's going to hit all-time highs the next day. I told you the day before NASDAQ was going to be hitting all-time highs. And now I'm telling you, I don't trade the Dow over here, but I'll tell you, this thing is probably going to start making its way towards all-time highs as well. I think we have, a lot of upside left on this market. These monthly charts are really no joke. All right. So this is DIA, this is SPY, and this is QQQ. None of these look like they're going to be just, looking above and failing over here. If we do get a pullback to start next month, we are expecting that to be bought, by the end of the month. We're not expecting to come all the way back down here. So anybody with crazy price targets, 520, 515 down here, please get them off of your radar. Okay. Because, let's be real, probably not going to be happening. All right. We're probably not going to violate that last monthly low right there. If we do see a pullback, it is very likely going to get bought up at some time during the month. And like I was saying, on the weekly chart, most of the time when we get these explosive, weekly candle closes over here, these big wide body bars, we will end up going higher the next week. If there is a pullback at the beginning of the week, we're going to anticipate that gets bought that same exact week. And, let's just say you go a little higher. Well, it's only a matter of time until you consolidate or you end up pulling back, and that is going to provide that opportunity. All right. You got over here, you went higher to start off the week, and it looks like you sold into the end of the week, and you consolidate for 2 weeks here before going higher. All right. After you get these, you're not expecting too much on that next week. It can happen. All right. We could go a little crazy here. I just don't think it's the most likely scenario where we, end up seeing 560 this week on QQQ. All right. It can happen. I just don't think it is probable. Okay. Also, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. You are extended off of your 5 EMA here on the daily time frame. I would not be surprised if you consolidate or pull back into them. That makes sense to me. You got a 1, you got a 2, you got a 3. 1, 2, 3, and then after 3, you stopped advancing. You just started trading flat for the whole next week, and then boom, you finally went down, and that got bought. All right, so something like that, something to revert back to the mean, because we are a bit extended here. I'm just actually going to come over here to VIX, guys. Mr. VIX, we had a target 1623. We started getting VIX get bought up. right after hitting that target 1623. We swept the low over here. We got, you know, buyers stepping in, not actually buyers on the VIX. It's not how the instrument works over here, but it is directly correlated to the S&P SPX's option chain over there. All right, so it is a very valuable tool that we like to take advantage of here on this channel, and I do in my trading. And I think if you add it to your tool belt, you're going to have a better time in these markets, okay? And if you guys aren't having a better time in these markets, you come join me. We've been killing it. All right, you can use discount code AMZN, Amazon. That is the most recent one. Amazon and Google, those were the ones I was pounding the freaking table on this week. I was like, these are the next Mag 7 stocks to focus on. These are the ones that are looking like they're going to be our next big winners. Hit that for you. All right, hit that for me. Hit that for you. I hope you guys made some money. 718 cons, just about up 100%. I'm in August 15 cons as well. All right, and we had it on GOOG, luckily, right before it ended up taking off over here. We got the close. We talked about this in Thursday's video. We got the close we needed above the 200 daily moving average and above our 172.91 level right there. You can see it breaking retest off it. You flipped it from resistance where you're going to reject it the previous day into support. And as we could see, they're the two stocks that really ended up exploding over here on Friday. We are going to be going over why I do think Google is about to see some further upside this week. I think it's queued up to explode. I think Amazon is going to have at least another big day. Probably start off the week with how it closed on Friday. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. But yeah, you could use 50% off you could use that code Amazon for 50% off your first month. Come try us out. I live stream every day. And if you are not killing this market, you have no reason not to be killing the market. It's a really hot market right now. I will help you out with that. All right. But coming back over here to the indices, let's go over the levels we got on SPY and QQQ, and we'll go over some IWM action as well. I'm just going to point out to start off IWM over here. Guys, all right, you know, some big buyers in the water right now over here in IWM, and I'm pretty sure it is going to be going higher. All right, so that is something I will just point out over here. We have, you know, this is honestly some of the largest orders the largest order I was seeing on Thursday was over here on the 718 218C. We did end up getting bought up the following day, but really stood up is the same buyer. I think it's the same guy. He is just slamming the tape over here on the 718 cons. Excuse me, it's not a Henry video over here without the hiccups. No, it is not. But 718, 711 expiration. We're talking 219, 220, 222. They were just getting slammed, you know, on Friday yesterday, and then the previous day, we were also seeing that $3.6 million order come in. I do think IWM is going to be going higher. It looks very similar to Amazon, where it's all coiled up, ready for a big move. And I think the two are probably going to be getting decent moves this week. So I think 220 is coming over here in IWM. But we'll talk about that after we talk about SPY levels over here, okay? But, you know, just to sum up the weekly chart, guys, pullback, buying opportunity, monthly chart, absolutely phenomenal. It's a fresh breakout. When have we seen you take out the high and you not just kind of keep going? You don't, okay? And if you do take out the high, like right here, guys, we're like right over here. If we end up just, you know, boom, popping our head up a little bit and pulling back for 1 to 2 months, clear as day, it's a buying opportunity. But I'll just point out, that is not how that's set up, okay? This thing literally just hit it with the break and retest off a previous all-time high over here at the low. QQ has an even better chart over here. All right, like this is something that is very likely going to lead to further upside. We just popped our head above here. It's likely that we continue just, you know, we're going to keep grinding higher like we have in the past. That's what I'm telling you right now. And yeah, that's how it's going to go. All right, but we'll start off with SPY levels over here, go over some stuff to watch for the week. All right, guys, above 1616, okay, 616. 39 above there, we're just going to be targeting 620. You got 618, 620. Those are the next two cycle levels that we're going to be paying attention to. But specifically, we all know 620 is probably going to bring sellers into the equation. But this is what I was talking about. I thought at least if we get a new all-time high, we're probably going to at least be squeezing for a few points higher. Just to mess with the bears there, just to mess with people going short. I will say we're a bit extended. We can stay extended, okay? So keep that in mind. but most of the time we will consolidate or we will pull back to that 5 EMA. All right, you got to extend there. You pull back the next day to the 5 EMA. You got to extend there for a while. Okay, and yes, it goes high. It's you know, only tracking the last 5 periods there. And yes, it'll just keep dragging higher, but eventually it completely catches up when you go flat. Okay, so you know, we're like, you got extended, you went flat for a few days, and then boom, you had another pop. You went flat for a few days, and then you went flat for a while there, and then boom, you had another pop where you got extended, and then you consolidated for a few days. So I'm just saying, don't expect the thing to go straight up. I'm going to point out some hot setups at the end of the video that you can pay attention to. All right, I think these are going to begin some better movement than over here in the indices. But yeah, as far as the indices go, do not expect us to keep going straight up. This is a pretty vertical move we had going on the last day. We have a lot of gaps that just, honestly, every single one of these days. All right, so gap, you didn't fill the gap. All right, from here, gap. On a close of base, you didn't fill it, but you know, you did end up filling it there. Boom, gap, you just left it behind. Boom, gap, you filled it. But you know, I'm just saying, this market, trappy market. All right, trappy market. That's what those gaps are telling you. Okay, you're getting a lot of these gaps. At some point, you're going to stop getting the gaps, and you're probably going to consolidate or pull back to fill some of these. Okay, and I'm not going to say it's going to be anything massive. I don't think you're coming all the way back down here. I really don't. You know, I know we have this massive gap left behind that everyone wants to get bearish over here. I had personally 2 scenarios over here. All right, you're either going to break 591.05, and we're coming down to the 200 DMA and the weekly 21 EMA was going to be sitting right over here as well. Maybe fill the gap, but probably not. Or you were going to hold 591.05 and you're going to hold the daily 21 and you're going to use that as a launch pad for that next leg. Regardless, I knew that pullback was going to bring new buyers into the equation. I just figured it was going to be done from down here. But nonetheless, guys, we're traders. We're here to make fucking money. All right, pardon my French, but we are here to make fucking money, guaranteed. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You trade what is in front of you. You don't trade what you're thinking in your mind. Okay, but a lot of people got these bearish biases because you think the market can't go higher. I'm telling you, okay, every trader will probably think like that for the first few years. You're going to go through a phase where, oh, you want to start shorting things because guess what? You think they got to pull back. They don't have to pull back. They can stay going longer than you can stay. Solve it, okay? And you don't need to have that attitude right there. You straight up just need to trade what's in front of you. And I will tell you here on this channel, just do the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a like on these videos. I really appreciate it. We could grow our channel here. But you know, you got everything you need over here to, you know, I'll keep reminding you not to have the attitude. I'll keep reminding you of how the market is actually moving in real time, Monday through Thursday. And then we have the weekly update on Saturday. Okay. So upside 616.39 above there, 620. On the downside, we have 613.23, 610.78, 609.07, and then we have that big 605.06 level that we broke out from over here, and we knew we were probably going to become an all-time highs. That's going to be a big spot. Okay, if we pull back into this area, you're going to have the 21 EMA here on the daily time frame sitting right there. Don't expect you to fill that gap. Expect buyers off of that. It's probably going to go something like that, or probably that. I don't think it's something that is going to come all the way back down here. I just don't think it would really make sense with the big move we just had and with how the weekly candle ended up, you know, forming over here. But you notice over here how you did hit it with the break and retest right there. And that's something similar to what I'm thinking here. Either that or we do continue higher this next week. And then the next 1 to 2 weeks, we do spend pulling back. And then, of course, that's also going to provide a buying opportunity. I'm going to point out some stocks that I think we can play that with. Okay. But that's where you're watching on the downside. That's where you're watching on the upside. That is SPY, the S&P 500. Notice the heavy volume on Friday, guys. And I actually will also point out your daily RSI is not overbought yet. You know, when this thing does end up, you know, really going here, which I think we have a chance of really going here because we just broke out the new all-time highs after the Sea of Doubt over here was just, boom, it all got dried up. Okay, like you just kept climbing through it and you kept drying more of it up as you go. And now people are going to get really bullish. Okay, you know, we have a very strong setup going on here where the NASDAQ and S&P 500 are agreeing with each other. We're at all-time highs. Dow is not at all-time highs. IWM looks like it's all coiled up, ready for its next move. You know, VIX ends up looking like this. The heck is this? What the heck is that? Okay, you know, this is a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 6, 7 week range that you were just now starting to break down from. All right, rejected the 200, rejected the weekly 21 EMA. You swept the high and rejected that bad boy. And now you're coming down to the bottom. Honestly, guys, we could be seeing, I hate to say it, but a 1474 VIX, as that means volatility is going to be out of the equation. So just limit your expectations when you're trading the indices. If you're a day trader, just know volatility, it is going to dry up. At some point, we're going to have a quick spike of volatility come back into the market. And that's what I'm trying to prepare you guys for if we do get that pullback. All right, guys, like these are the times you want to be taking your profits when they come to, all right, such as Amazon. This thing's moving to target, you know, but on Friday, I didn't think it was going to be on Friday, but I did know that it was definitely the thing to be focused on. It's all coiled up here. You got a bull flag going on. You got this tight range going on above the moving average, above the 200 DMA. I think this is probably going to be getting 230 this week, probably to start off 228 to 230. And then I do think price is going to slow down, but we'll talk about that after we finish talking about the NASDAQ over here off of QQQ. All right, on the upside, 549.999. We told you to watch 550. That was your next psych level. Once you broke above 540.81, you had 545 and then 550. We could tell there's sell orders sitting there, guys. If you get above it, you pop your head above it, I imagine people are going to capitulate. You have sell orders sitting here. We're probably going to be going decently above. We're talking 551, 552, 553. The next cycle level is going to be 555. I'm not saying you get up there without starting that, you know, consolidation period I was talking about. I think it would make sense after this massive week we just had the new all-time highs. But at the same time, pop your head up, boom, you consolidate for the next 2 weeks. Pop your head up, boom, you consolidate for the next 2 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised to hit it with the 1-2 here. And, you know, we do end up, maybe we get 555 to 560 this week. Excuse me. And then we get multiple weeks of consolidation or pullback, getting ready for that next move. And maybe it goes something like this. You pull right back to the previous all-time high, and then that sets up maybe in a bull flag or something like that. Or it's just going to be a quick one, then boom, we just end up popping up, and then yeah, maybe you know, it goes something like that. We have absolutely no idea how this is going to go, but we will definitely prepare for all the scenarios, and we're here to make money off of it. So let's see what we get. Okay. On the downside, we're talking 544.54 underneath their previous all-time high at 540.81. I'll make that a blue level right there, key level that we're going to be paying attention to. If you pull back, you want to be holding either here or down at 536.78. So 536.78 was the, you know, break and retest. It's going to be the break and retest level. We technically already tested over here on the gap up, pulled back very slightly to start that day, and then boom. So, you know, if you do pull back, big key level 540.81, next key level 536.78. All right, so that is QQ. I don't think we're going to fill that 532.17 gap, but if we do, that is where you're definitely going to be looking for buyers to step in. I just don't think it's probable after, you know, I was vocal about it when we were sitting right here. I was saying it didn't make sense to kill that weekly candle here and come back into the range. It made sense to go a little bit higher, and then we pull back and just probably test the previous all-time high or 536.78 where we just broke out from, but more specifically 540.81. I don't think we're getting back down here, but if we do 536.78 to 540.81, that's where you want to be buying in. That's where you want to be putting your risk on, and we will look for setups on, you know, we'll look for entries on the ideal setups we're seeing in the market at the time. Okay. Now coming over here to IWM, guys, I do think it's coiled up ready for a big move. I did show you that flow earlier on the video. Thursday, Friday, they're lighting this bad boy up. I think we're probably going to be getting some good upside over here. I think we're probably going to get 220 plus in the short term. Daily RSI is nowhere near overbought territory. I think it can happen. Above 217.41, we're talking 220.67. On the downside, honestly, you're just going to be watching right over here. 211.95. If you break under 211.95, Henry Boy over here is wrong, and IWM is not going to be having a ripper, and it is what it is. But I do think you're probably going to be grinding higher, maybe fall with a gap up on Monday, push through 217.41, head to 220.67. All right, that's IWM. Let's go over the Mag 7 stocks, guys. Meta. All right, guys, like, you had no business not making money in this market. You had no business shorting the market, being bearish on the market. Your boy over here told you, I was pounding the table, Meta. And then once it started giving us our action on Thursday, we pound the table on Google. On GOOG, excuse me, I always got these hiccups. You got GOOG and Amazon. Okay, like those are the next ones to be focusing on here. Meta did end up giving us exactly what he wanted. You got no business not making money in this market, guys. We got so many hot plays that decided to take off these last 1 to 2 weeks on us. Boom.
It's easy.
That was easy. Okay, so meta guys, it is very likely that we probably are. Oh, also 815, 735. See, it got swept for we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna say about $5 million right there, and then add on 6, add on that. We're gonna say about $7 million. Someone ended up stepping on this bad boy on Friday. So I do think we are probably going to be getting all-time highs next week. Probably, definitely. Okay. You just broke up from consolidation. That's what I'm going to be looking for over here. If you pull back to start off the week, I'm a buyer. You might be a buyer. We're buyers. Okay. It's probably going to go something just like that, where you have the gap down, or you pull back, start off the week, and then boom, you squeeze into the end of the week. I think above 240, not 240, 740.91. I think we'd be heading up to 750, 760 real quick. I think it's on the table, 760 this week. All right. Coming over here to Amazon. Hottest setup right now, guys. I think we're in this stage right now. I know we're a little bit higher than that, so I do think we're at least about to get another, probably about a 5-point move on Monday. Maybe Monday into Tuesday, but I'm going to point out we're kind of just right over here, guys. And I do think, like you see this line over here on the daily RSI. People don't like the daily RSI. I find it useful just for backtesting. I find it useful just to reference what has previously happened. And, right over here, you were here. Okay, you were technically here, but we're just going to say you were here. Well, 6-point move, consolidation. Okay, so we take our profits on that 6-point move. I know you're going to be big up if you're entering with me. I know I'm going to be big up if we end up getting that 5-6-point move. And I'll tell you right now, you got no reason to be a greedy pig over here. You absolutely freaking crushed it. You crushed it. Okay, but now you have heavy volume on the day over here on Friday. This thing is probably about to get another decent move up here. I think we're targeting 230 early on in the week. So that is Amazon. Break and retest level was 218.40. I told you that could provide an entry. It did end up providing an entry when things were looking real bleak over here on Friday. You did end up holding that break and retest, and you skyrocketed. All right, strongest stock is this and Google. Google over here, guys. You got above 172.91. You got above the 200 DMA on Thursday. I told y'all about this one, and this thing did just like Amazon. It ended up popping into the close. Had the biggest reaction there out of any stock. And I'm going to tell you here on the weekly chart, this thing is probably about to hit it with the 1-2 and get up here. 183.63 to 188.71. I think 188.71 is on the table this week. All right. Now, I'm going to point out, heavy volume, 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 heavy volume. For a very long time, I am just going to say, you have kept going higher after that heavy volume. You got to pull back over here, and from the low of that pullback, 6 points higher. Over here, you got to pull back. What happened? Boom, 10 points higher. You got to pull back over here. You just kept, pull back, and then you kind of grinded higher. There was that. Over here, it started a move right before you went higher. Marked it out. All right, right over here, boom, you just kept grinding higher. Over here, you just kept grinding higher. Over here, okay, you end up going higher the next few days. You pull back, and then you just kept grinding higher. I'm just saying, this thing is probably going to, it's probably going to behave like all those other times where you just kept grinding higher. I discluded over here because this was off of earnings. That's what brought the volume into the stock. But if you don't have earnings going on, all of these big volume spikes, they did lead to at least a few more days of upside. And I'll tell you, pair that with the hot setup we got right now, bullish engulfing candlestick on the weekly, heavy volume, coiled up against the moving average, reclaim the 200 DMA. This thing's probably going 183.63 or 188.71 to start off the week. All right. And if it's not start off the week, we're looking at that sometime this week. Okay. So that is Google. That's what I'm talking over there. Coming over to Nvidia. Puts. Okay, 718.25, 155 puts. Okay, those came in to start off the day, 3.4 mil. And then you have November 125 puts, again, 3.4 mil. I think it's the same buyer. You did end up having 170C swept for 1.4 mil. But I'm just focusing on the puts right over here. I'm just saying, you guys may have killed it over here, and this thing is probably going to pull back aggressively at one point, and that whale is trying to catch it. There's that. That's all I'm going to point out. On the upside, 158.71, 160, 165. I told you I think we could get 160 or 165 on this run before pulling back. Well, it's looking more probable than not right now. Look at how the 4-hour time frame is shaping up. This thing's probably going to get a pop to start off the week. But, I'm definitely going to say I wouldn't be chasing this thing up here. On the downside, you got 153.13 previous all-time high, 148.97 and 145. Expected to find buyers off of 153.13 or 148.97. Microsoft didn't hit 500. I'm expecting 500. Probably going to continue a little higher before really pulling back. But if it does pull back, you're watching 480.42. Apple, you got no business trading Apple. Don't be trading Apple. Just don't do it. I'll tell you when the time is. I'm telling you, Mag 7 stocks are they're my bread and butter. Okay. I follow along with the indices. I trade the Mag 7 stocks. Obviously, I have other trade ideas that I focus on. But in reality, this is the bread and butter that someone, really does just need for consistency. All these things line up separately. We got Meta. We were waiting patiently on that one. Guess what? The next one was Amazon and Google, and those are now popping off. Okay, I'll tell you when it is time to focus on Apple. But for the time being, above 203.67, we have 206.24, 209.48, 214.56. On the downside, you're just watching 195.07. Underneath there, 193.25, 189.81. Don't touch it. Okay. Tesla, it's another one you just don't want to be touching. It's pretty ugly. You don't gotta mess with it. Okay, you just don't. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just don't mess with it. On the upside, if you break above 357.54, that's when you start paying attention. Then what you can do is you could start entering once you break above 367.71 for a move up to 400 plus. I don't think that's going to be the case right now, so I wouldn't be touching it. But on the downside, you're just watching the 200. If you fail there, 295. Those are the Mag 7 stocks, guys. We're going to go over 10 as trade ideas here. But like I said, Google, Amazon, congrats if you did end up making money. I'll hit this for you.
That was easy.
But those are also something that they're going to keep popping off this week, and we're going to be taking our profits over there, okay? And again, if you want to come join me for 50% off your first month, you can only spend $40. You can try it out. I'll help you make money. If you don't make money, that's fine, okay? You could just move on. But, we've been killing it, all right? We've been killing it, and I have no intention of not continuing to kill it. It's a hot market. There's time to be risk on, time to be risk off, time to be risk on, okay? Trade ideas. PayPal. All right. It looks like it's coiled up above 74.15. We're talking 76.46 and then 79. Uber. Okay. Fresh all-time highs this week. Pullback is a buying opportunity, whether it consolidate for a week and then hit it with the 1-2, or it just, goes straight up and gets that 2 this next week. We don't know. I started a position over here, and I do think we either consolidate here for another day and then move up, or we're just going to start popping up above 94.38. Above there, we're targeting 95 and then $100. Walmart, start popping back up here on Friday. Heavy volume. Above 98.09, we're talking 99.49. Above there, 189 and then 102.55. MCD, it's looking like it wants to break out from this base. You have a bullish divergence here of the daily RSI. Above 292.10, we're talking 298.86. A&F, look at the monthly chart. Starting to turn around over here for us. Look at the weekly chart. It's starting to push the upper bound of this base over here above 84.01. This thing could start going for a ride. It's time to put it back on the radar. Oscar, hit it with the break and retest earlier on in the week. We pointed this out before it happened there. And I am just going to say this thing is probably going to be taking a ride above 23.79 at some point over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Or, maybe it takes its time, but I think 1 to 2 weeks. And above there, we're talking $37. Okay. Shop looks coiled up, ready to go. It's something I'm going to be focused on here. You got a weekly close above 111. I like that. You failed it right over here. You failed it here, failed it here. I don't think it's time to fail it. Above 117.36, we're talking you grind higher or you push impulsively up to 129.38. Carvana, it's another one over here that's looking like it's just taking a breather. All right, just like Shop over there. It had a big move. It's taking a breather here. We're going to watch for this thing start moving back up to the highs above 328.20. We're talking 351.43 and then 376.83 all-time highs incoming. This thing does look ready to go though. Carnival Cruise Lines. I am just going to point out the monthly chart over here. If you see a pullback, it is a buying opportunity. This thing looks like it wants to take out 28.72 and then head straight to 31.52. Not telling anybody to chase this one, but I'm going to be watching it on pullbacks over there as a buying opportunity. Crowd. All right, I gave you this one when it was in consolidation this week, and now it is out of consolidation. And yeah, I think we're probably going to keep grinding higher over here on crowd, but dips are buying opportunities if this thing continues to consolidate, which I don't think, because you just consolidate for 4 weeks and then you hit it with a bullish engulfing candlestick off increasing volume. I think it's probably going to continue, but if it does pull back to 491.20, that is a buying opportunity. Other than that, guys, we're talking 510 to 520 comes quick. SOFI, don't chase it up here, but I'm telling you, I think we're in this sequence over here, this breakout sequence where we're just going to get these couple day pullbacks. All right, you're going to set up in like these flags, these consolidations here, and you're going to keep having impulsive moves up. Boom, flag, you kept grinding up. Boom, today hit it with the 1-2 consolidation, and boom, you have a little pop, and then boom, you have another flag to the moving averages, and then boom, you have a little pop. So we're gonna keep our eyes on it. I'm not telling you to chase it right now, but I'm gonna be pointing out over the coming weeks when it's a buying opportunity. Okay, when it's setting up. SMCI, I gave you this one earlier on. I'm telling you though, I don't think this is going to be the case. I'm out. Okay, but this is definitely still, you know, it's a hot looking setup. I'm just out. I think there's other things to focus on right now, and I'm gonna have a much better time over there. Congrats if you did make money off of this, but you got to get over 50.61 and then you could head to 56.19. If you can't break over here, you're going to come back and test 45 bucks. That's SMCI. AVGO, strong weekly close here. I think you're probably going to keep grinding higher. A pullback to start off the week would act as a buying opportunity. I think this thing is going to keep grinding higher from here. Rocket Lab, new all-time highs. I put it on your radar when we were in this consolidation. This thing did end up breaking all-time highs this week. Congrats if you made money. We made money on this. It was the first play of the week. We had, you know, some dated cons there. And when they go about 100% a day, you got to be taking profits. You know, you hit it with 1 to 2 sessions there, and you're up 100%, and you have, you know, weeks to months in your contracts. Please just start taking them off. Okay. We get opportunities every single week. We get a lot of opportunities every single week. And that's what I think a lot of beginner traders, they don't realize. Okay. You don't need to be going all in on every trade. Okay. It's not like, oh, you missed this one. You got to sit on your hands for like weeks at a time. No, I will point them out. Okay. We get them constantly. So just keep that in mind. I think this keeps grinding higher. If it pulls back to 33, 34, I think it provides an opportunity. Reddit. All right. I don't necessarily like that weekly chart, but I do like how the daily chart is set up, and I think it's about to get another pop here. Regardless, I'm going to keep it on my radar. I went over the best ones first, though. PayPal, Uber, Walmart, MCD, Oscar, Shop, you know, all of those. And then it goes Google and Amazon. Okay. Coming over your hood. It's another one that I think it's just in consolidation. Keep it on the radar. I'm not telling anybody to buy it here, but I'm going to be keeping it on the radar here. You know, any pullback, like a decent pullback here. I want to test the 21 EMA finally. We haven't tested it the whole time. That's going to provide an opportunity. Oracle, I think it's just consolidating over here. Maybe it stays in consolidation for the next 1 to 2 weeks, but I do think it's getting ready for a breakout move, and we see 225, 230 come quick. All right, guys, that is what I have for you guys this video. I hope you guys freaking kill it this week. I hope you killed it last week, and I hope you're going to kill it with us this week. All right. With that being said, guys, everybody have a lovely rest of their day. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I will catch y'all next week. Peace.